Welcome to the Narcissist Slayers podcast. We are your co-hosts, Hope Jay
and Lynn Catalano.
Tune in every month as we teach you how to slay the emotional vampire in your life.
Hope Jay is an attorney and founder of the Center for Hope Western New York, a nonprofit organization providing low and no-cost resources to victims of narcissistic abuse. Visit our website at centerforhopewny.org for more information.
And Lynn Catalano is an attorney and a narcissistic abuse recovery coach. She's the author of Wrecking Ball Relationships. Find out more about Lynn at lynncatalano.com. We are both survivors of narcissistic abuse, and we bring our personal experiences and professional expertise to help you on your path to healing.
Please support us by hitting that subscribe button. We are on YouTube and Spotify at the Narcissist Slayers Podcast.
And follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at the Narcissist Slayers Podcast. Send us your questions to narcslayers at centerforhopewny.org.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Together, we will help you slay the narcissist in your life and reclaim your power.
So today, Lynn, we are going to be talking about why narcissists target high-value women.
Whew, we've heard this a lot, huh? Like from clients, from people coming to us.
So this is a topic that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I think it is like such a common experience for people who are successful in like every area of their life. And I'm talking, when I say high value women, I mean women who have it kind of together, right? They have it together.
Educated,
and,
professionals,
yep,
and success in their careers.
Yep, yes.
But then what about relationships?
Right. So I find that a lot of times when women put so much energy and effort into their careers and becoming successful in their own right, which of course I fully support, they tend to oftentimes find themselves in a situation where they are attracting a certain type of partner. And I don't think, if it was just like one or two people, I'd be like, oh, well, that's just specific to that person. But I've seen this over and over again with both, and I'm going to say, I'm going to include myself in this, and many of my clients, many of my friends. I follow other bloggers and podcasters and people who talk about this issue all the time. And I think what it boils down to is that when we are successful women, we are unconsciously a target for narcissistic men.
Oh.
And there's reasons for that we're going to be talking about today.
Okay.
Because narcissists are attracted to the high value woman for a number of reasons.
So I think the common question that I hear, and I'm sure you have heard as well, is how could this have happened? I'm a smart, independent, successful woman. Like I know how to balance my checkbook.
Yeah.
I pay my own bills.
Yeah.
I've achieved this great level of success, and yet I keep falling for the same person.
Right. So I often say that narcissists and codependents are two sides of the same coin.
Oof.
And that's what we're going to kind of be talking about today, I think. And that's a broad sort of perspective to look at this discussion through. Is when you are, you may be, and this is the thing, like I know and I feel that I am an emotionally intelligent woman. I feel that most of my friends are emotionally intelligent women. Most of my clients are emotionally intelligent women. So we are very critical of ourselves for, because we have such high standards in our own lives. When we fall short in any area of our life, I think we are incredibly critical of ourselves. And I know that that a narcissist, like they unconsciously understand, they unconsciously understand, and they target women who are going to feed into this dynamic where they can, the narcissist can use somebody like this. They can use a confident woman, and essentially all the qualities of that person is something that the narcissist wishes they were. Okay, so when
Okay.
when you initially had talked about you're successful in your career, you most of the time you're a provider, you have a bank account, you may have other pursuits, you may own property, you're probably an attractive person.
Right.
You've been successful in all areas of your life. When a narcissist sees somebody like that, it's almost like you have a target on your back. And I think we actually saw an article where somebody wrote that about, you have a target on your back. And the reason for that is because let's not forget, narcissists are big black holes. Like they have no real sense of self or identity. And so they see this attractive, successful woman, and it's like, they want to glam onto you and they want to be everything you are, but yet at the same time, they want to destroy you. So that's
a war they're fighting internally, right? That's their own issues coming out, and that they want you to be in a relationship with them. They want you to succeed so that you can be their own accomplishment, right? So that they can brag about you, like my partner, my wife, my girlfriend, whatever. But then they also need to be superior to you.
That's right. So
by all means necessary.
You end up in this horribly toxic dynamic, right? Because they're attracted to you for those reasons, but they also want to destroy you for those reasons. So you absolutely cannot win.
Yeah.
So let's talk about why narcissists target high value women. I know that we kind of have a list of things.
Well, we have so many to talk about. We probably won't get to all of them. We have so many, but yes.
I think it's important, because if you're somebody listening to this podcast right now and you're thinking to yourself, I got it together in every area of my life, but I keep on choosing these men that are these toxic men. Why are these men targeting you? Like, why are you, feel like that these are the guys that are available to you in terms of dating? So
I think the first one would be that the narcissist is craving a challenge.
Yes.
So how do we look at that? Like, they like the challenge, they want the challenge. Why? Well, I think they feel the person who suffers from narcissistic personality disorder feels that they could attach themselves quite easily to an insecure person, but they would much rather have a secure, list all the accomplishments we just did, right? Independent, secure, accomplished woman. Why? Because they see that as a stepping stone. They see that as something they want. And we know that people who suffer from NPD always want to be superior.
Right.
They always need to be above everyone else. And so what would help them get to be that high is finding someone who is secure and accomplished, and they feel that they now have that person in a relationship, and now they have to be more superior than them.
Well, and that's what starts the process of them trying to undermine you and cut you down. And you may start out in a relationship with somebody like this, as I know I did, and many people that I've talked to have, and secure in yourself and confident and all the things that you are. But by the end of that relationship, because the narcissist was attracted to you for the very same reasons why they abhor you.
Right.
It's like it's this just insidious thing where they want you, they want a bit more. They don't want you. They want to consume what you have and make it theirs.
Like Pac-Man.
Right. And they want to control who you are.
Yeah.
So it's really not about you, the person, ever.
Right.
It's not about you and who you really are and the good, the good person that you are. It's that they want to, like you said, Pac-Man, they want to consume you. They want to consume you and they want to control you.
Yeah.
And so, in the beginning, everything probably seems wonderful. And we've often talked about that, how in the beginning with a narcissist.
Moonlight and roses.
Right. But as time goes on, all those qualities, the confidence, the challenge, all the things that they were attracted to in you, They want to break you down.
Yeah.
They want to break that down because
Yeah.
their goal was never about a partnership. Their goal was about power and control.
Yes. Before Hope goes on to the next reason, I just want to give our viewers the translation. When Hope does this, that means narcissistic abuse cycle.
Yes.
So that's her hand signal. Yes.
Yes.
So go on. What's another reason why they would seek out these types of women?
Okay. So, again, I think we perceive ourselves as strong women, right? And we are strong women because we've accomplished a lot. We've survived a lot.
Yeah.
And narcissists, again, they're attracted to that strength. They want to sort of like hide behind that strength. And, again, I don't think it's out of anything other than their own need to subsume that and about power and control. Again, it always comes back to power and control.
Always.
But the strength that you emanate is something that they are attracted to. Again, initially, it's something that they are initially attracted to because, and I think it feeds. It's kind of about the same dynamic with the the confidence, because when you're a confident person, when you're a strong person, these are all qualities that are perceived by our society as good qualities, and a narcissist wants to be perceived that way. So I think a lot of this is about narcissistic projection. And we've talked about narcissistic projection before. We've talked about narcissistic mirroring. And when a narcissist sees these qualities in a partner, they want to be you. They want to be you. Deep inside, they know they're not you. They know that they don't have those core qualities because, like I said, they're a big black hole and ball of nothingness with no real ego to speak of. Yeah. But they see you, and you are something that they wish they were.
You're describing like the single white female kind of plot line, right? But I do think that all of these factors go to the fact that the narcissist is they feel that they're entitled to this type of person.
Yes.
Okay, so we know that in the definition, in the 9 characteristics from the American Psychiatric Association, they feel that they are superior and that they need to associate with other superior people.
Yes.
So they're looking for this type of person. And so not only do they feel entitled to it, they want to become that person. So they almost feel that they're entitled to your accomplishments.
Yes.
So that becomes a bragging point for them.
Yes.
Right? Like that what you've accomplished is what they've accomplished.
Yes. Well, they do that with everyone in their lives, right? They do that with their children. They do that with their, so the bragging rights and because we all know to be in a relationship with a narcissist, they don't view you as like a person separate from them. Right. You are an extension of them, or you are in a projection of them, right? So if you're accomplished in all these kinds of things, then they're sitting back, like this with this grin on their faces.
Because they're so proud.
Well, no, they're not proud. What they are is, sorry, that was sarcasm. I missed that.
She fell right into it.
I fell right into it. Nope, they're not proud. What they are is they're soaking up all of that praise, and they believe in their heart of hearts, as you've said many times, that they're not, because you're just a projection or extension of them. That praise is for them.
Yeah.
It's there. It's coming through to them because, they created you as a parent, or they made you as a partner, or whatever it is.
But there is
they're grandiose ideas.
There is a point, and God help you if you are at this point, where if you receive more recognition, more praise, more envy, more whatever the positive is than them, then they do turn on you. And
isn't that the second part of the cycle? The devaluation piece of it, and that's what I was saying earlier. Is as much as they want it, they are conversely so threatened by it.
Yes.
Threatened that you're going to eclipse them. Threatened that your competition deep down, because they don't have any ability to form reciprocal relationships or partnerships, right? So
they don't possess mutual respect for anyone, right? There is no other respect for anyone but themselves.
So it's good to a point, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so, but they, like you're saying, God help you if you eclipse them. God help you if, the attention, and this is like, for example, I'll just give a brief little story of my own life. So, here I was with this narcissist that I, in the beginning I believed supported me, right? And supported my ambition, and I'm, an ambitious career person. And support, and there was a lot of things that I wanted to achieve, and I really thought, like, here I am in this relationship with somebody who has similar goals as I do, and wants to see me achieve.
Sure.
I believed it, right? I believed he was going to support me through all this. But when the rubber met the road, and he actually had to come through with supporting me and supporting me with his time, supporting me with perhaps taking care of the kids if I wasn't going to be there to make him dinner, supporting me financially because there were financial commitments to the things that I wanted to achieve.
Right.
As soon as I needed him to really be there to do those things, he was nowhere to be found. He just would disappear. So not only was he not supporting me, Lynn, but he was actively working against me. So, all of the things that I thought, like that he was attracted to me because of, like I said earlier, I thought he was attracted to me because of the strength that I projected and the ambition that I had. But if that was the reason in the beginning, it flipped right on its head.
Yeah.
Because he didn't really want me to be that person.
Yeah.
He didn't really want to see me succeed.
Right.
Because that would have threatened his ego too much. He had to be the one that was superior.
Exactly.
Right?
Now, I have to say, there's a caveat here. For those of you who have observed couples together and you've said, gosh, that man is so supportive of her. None of us know what happens behind closed doors. And we're here to tell you that a very common, typical trait of a narcissist is that they wear a mask.
Right.
And that they behave one way in public and another behind closed doors to the people closest to them. And so when Hope talks about the narcissistic abuse cycle, and the second phase as far as devaluing goes, that's not going to happen out in front of your friends and family.
Right.
That's going to happen between the two of you.
Right. No, because the impression management piece is too strong. They want to be perceived as this wonderful person. Yes. Yeah.
So you need to be aware of that, and you need to be aware of kind of like the consequences of your success and what happens after. I mean,
well, I think this is a perfect litmus test, though, too, because when you start to enter the devaluation cycle, this is when the cognitive dissonance is like real, okay? Yeah. Because you have an impression of this person being one way. Like I said, I really thought that this was someone that we aligned.
Yeah.
And that he really wanted to see me achieve all of it. I had, these big dreams, right? And I wanted I thought that I was with a partner that was going to support me through it.
Yeah.
When it turned out that he was actively working against me, okay, and I couldn't see it for what it was. When he would drop out of sight or not be available, or he had promised that he was going to, help me find other people in the community to support my endeavors, and never did anything to further that, or wouldn't take me to meet these people, or like all the things that we had talked about, right? I would make excuses. I would make excuses for him. I would make excuses. Oh, he's too busy. He'll do it. Like he'll do it, right? And I so desperately wanted to believe, and this is how we end up, stuck in these cycles and these relationships, is because we get so stuck wanting to believe that the person is the person who they originally showed themselves to be, rather than the person who you're actually in a relationship with. And that's the person who is actively trying to undermine you. That is the person who, is really, their whole soul motivation is about power and control. It was never about, trying to help you or support you or. So when you're a high value woman in a relationship like this, and that's the third, I'm not sure what number we're on because we didn't actually do numbers, but the other big piece of this that we haven't already talked about is that many women who find partners like this are codependent women. And I know we've talked about this ad infinitum in other podcasts, but it's important to bring it up again because, you're accepting these behaviors for a reason, okay? You are allowing these behaviors for a reason. And once you start to see the behaviors, and you and I talked about this before we started the podcast, anytime you sit down and talk with someone, myself included, and you kind of have them do a postmortem of the relationship, they'll always say, I saw red flags. I saw them. I saw them in the beginning. You might have even seen them in the initial dating the initial dating phases when you were, even when the love bombing was still strong, because oftentimes the mask will slip a little bit, right? Yep. But the problem is that once you've got all these sunk costs and these investment costs and you're in a relationship like this, that you so desperately want him to be the person who you thought he was, that you will jump through hoops of fire and, just rationalize everything that they do to themselves. And we're going to move into this in a minute, but once you become a person who has learned how to set and enforce boundaries to disarm a narcissist, you will no longer tolerate this kind of behavior, and you'll see it from the outset. So, but hang on.
Okay,
go ahead.
I got a couple
go
things.
ahead.
So, number one, we have to defer to Maya Angelou in this situation. When someone shows you who they are, you must believe them. And listen, I was guilty. I didn't believe my father. He presented himself a multitude of times, showing me exactly who he was. So please, if I could give you any words of wisdom, do that. Number two, Hope literally just talked about the number one sign that you are trauma bonded to someone is when you make excuses for their behavior. That is literally what you said.
Yeah.
You said that you found yourself making excuses.
Oh, for sure.
And so I see that all the time, and that's what we get into.
Yeah. So, but just to kind of recap here, we talked about why they're attracted to you because of your confidence. We talked about why they're attracted to you because they crave the challenge. We talked about them seeing you as a trophy and wanting what's perfect or to control what's perfect, to exploit your ambition. We talked about all those things, using you as a mirror. But what we really didn't talk about was how they exploit your compassion, and that is kind of what I was getting into, is when you are still living in that space where you're emotionally intelligent. I mean, I want everyone, like people who are listening to this, because you're stuck in this cycle, it does not mean that you're not an emotionally intelligent person. Right. What it means is that you haven't learned how to set and enforce boundaries. So when you are still, your trauma is still leading you, like in these relationships, when you're still giving them 100 chances and not saying, this is not acceptable to me. Right. Okay. That's when the trauma bonds and all of that kind of stuff is kind of leading you here. And if you're a helper, if you're a fixer, if you're a saver, if you're a people pleaser, all of those kinds of things, and everyone has heard those terms, what it really means is that you are an unhealed codependent. Oh. And so they're exploiting that. They understand instinctively that you are a person who cannot set and enforce boundaries, and they are going to use that against you until you are, not a shadow of the person that you are.
I think it's even farther than that they're exploiting your empathy.
Yes.
And your ability to care for someone else, because let's not forget, narcissists do not possess empathy. They cannot exhibit it whatsoever, and they genuinely don't care about anyone but themselves.
Right.
And so they are definitely exploiting the fact that you can't just walk away.
Well, sure, absolutely. I mean, they understand intrinsically, and that's how they keep you bound to them.
Yeah.
You're bound to them because of your intrinsic sense of integrity, and that you're not going to treat somebody in a certain way, and they're counting on that. They're betting on that. They're betting on that.
You're not going to walk away.
That's right. But the thing, and I always tell this to people, is you're not playing on the same board.
No.
You are not playing on the same board. Like,
Nope.
they are exploiting your ethics. They're exploiting your integrity.
Wow.
They're exploiting, all of those things. And as a high value woman, those, like, I can tell you from my perspective, that's how I live. That was the tenets of how I want to live my life.
Right.
So he exploited the hell out of that.
Yep. So hope if someone is listening to this podcast,
Yep.
and they say, yeah, that's me. That's me.
Yeah.
I relate to this. I identify with this. What can I do? What can we tell them that they can do?
Yeah. Okay. So, what I want to see for people, okay, this is like the ultimate goal. And it's by the way, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of investment in yourself. But you can do this, okay? It's a shift. And it's a shift. It's an entire shift in your whole way of being. So when women become more self-aware, and they learn to trust themselves and to set and enforce boundaries, the narcissist loses power. And not only that, but they're really no longer attracted to you because you're not willing to play the game. You're not willing to get on the dance floor. You're not willing to compromise your integrity any longer. And that is not attractive to them because when you're no longer chasing chaos, and we talked about that, it was like a couple podcasts ago.
Yes.
Yep. When you are no longer chasing chaos and you're no longer, like, you're not rooted in this, this trauma probably from your own childhood where you have to prove your worth, or seek validation from toxic people, then you can be free. And so that's like your boundaries become your armor.
So, I spend a lot of time when I'm coaching a client who suffered narcissistic abuse, I spend a lot of time on setting boundaries. I think it's so important because narcissists don't respect your boundaries, but that does not mean you should not set them. They are your personal rules and limits. No one gets to tell you they're wrong. And then also, I spend a lot of time on forgiveness. And it's a funny subject because when I'm in it with a coaching client who suffered this type of emotional abuse, they often say to me, well, I am not ready to forgive this person. Well, that's not what it's about. Because it's about healing yourself in order to move on and let go of this horrible thing that has happened to you. Because in order to heal, you've got to move on. And forgiveness is the key.
Well, I would, for me, Lynn, my goal was more like indifference. I never had a need to forgive the narcissist. My greatest need was to forgive myself.
So,
and this is, for intelligent women who are used to being successful in life, to make these missteps in relationships and to cause all of the, the self, harm to themselves and maybe to their children. We're the most critical people of ourselves.
oh, definitely.
And I think that I know for myself, it's been incredibly difficult to forgive myself.
I'm not talking about forgiving the narcissist.
Okay.
When I talk about forgiveness,
Yeah.
I talk about the benefits of forgiveness
Yeah.
for you.
Yes.
And I talk about how you need to give yourself some grace because this didn't happen on its own. This other person calculated you. They clocked you and they were looking for you.
Absolutely.
You said at the beginning, the
so
target.
So I'm gonna I'm gonna give just a list of five things that emotionally intelligent women can do.
Okay.
So that you are, NARC proof. Okay.
Okay.
And if you're in the dating world,
Yep.
and you're going out there, you've been through a number of these relationships, you've done the work on yourself, you're feeling more empowered, you understand the cycle,
Right.
you have to get to that point. But here's 5 things that you can do to NARC proof your future relationships, okay? So 1, and this is huge, you're gonna walk away from the hot and cold behavior, okay? Because that That is a huge red flag. If someone is coming on super strong one day and then they disappear the next, or you don't hear from them for 3 or 4 days and they show back up and they're profusely apologizing, or maybe they're not even apologizing at all, but they're testing you. That is a test, Lynn. And in the past, and I often see women do this, that they're trying to analyze why someone is behaving this way. If you have to start analyzing why someone is behaving this way when you've not even been on a couple of dates with someone, walk away.
This gives me a little PTSD, because I think about every factor is something that I suffered from my father, but it is much different in a parent-child relationship. But we're not talking about that. Go on.
Okay. So the second thing that you need to be aware of is to refuse these people who are putting in the minimum effort, the bare amount of effort. Okay. It's a little bit different than the hot and cold, because they might come on real strong and then pull away. That's a major red flag. But there's also these guys that just they do the breadcrumbing, right? That's a term. They do the breadcrumbing, and they give you just enough, enough, but they don't really, they don't plan. They don't make plan the dates. They don't open doors. They don't pay for the dates. They're just doing the bare minimum, and almost like they're making you feel like that you should be grateful for the little bit of attention that they're paying you. And guess what? Again, they're testing your boundaries. They're testing to see, whether or not you're somebody who has a high sense of self-worth and a high sense of your own identity. Because when you do, you're not going to tolerate that kind of behavior. Right. Okay. And to add to that, okay, the third thing that you don't do is you don't chase, ever. Okay. And by that I mean, if you're dating someone and it seems like it's going well, and maybe they're putting in the effort, and maybe they've been fairly consistent, okay? But one day, maybe a month in or a couple of months in, they have a rage storm, or they give you a silent treatment, which they haven't subjected you to this yet, okay? And they check out and make you feel like there's something that you did to upset them. But you already are invested in the relationship. So the old you, right, the person before you've healed and learned how to set boundaries, would chase. You'd be the one who would reach out and say, what did I do? Can we talk? Please, I don't know what I did. Please forgive me. Can we meet to talk? Or maybe you'd do the 5-paragraph emails, or you'd send the letter, or, okay, so here's what I advise. Don't chase. If somebody withdraws their affection or behaves like that in a way that is completely not commensurate to the crime, major red flag. Yeah. Major red flag. Yeah. Okay. And again, it rewards their bad behavior. Right. So it's this is exactly, they're testing you. Yeah. They're trying to see exactly how much you're willing to take. And if you're a person who doesn't have good boundaries, and they're pulling these different kinds of different types of behaviors which amount to emotional abuse, and they're checking to see, is this person going to tolerate this? And they'll just do it a little bit at a time. And if you're a person that's tolerating it, nope, then they know, green light, good to go. Yeah. Okay. And the last thing is that when you are an emotionally intelligent woman who has come into your own, and you are not compelled to do any of the things that that we just discussed, you're gonna act from a whole different place. You're gonna act from a place of self-worth and self-clarity, and you don't. How do I say this other than you don't need a man or a woman or whatever it is. You don't need this person to complete you. You're not coming from a place where you're going to settle because you're terrified that if you don't engage with this person that no one else is ever going to come around, or so you are happy and secure and confident in yourself. and it's okay if it doesn't work out with this person. You're going to be fine if it doesn't work out with this person.
I have two more to add to your list.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, number one, for me, I think that everyone needs to have your green flags of a relationship. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is going to be soon hot off the presses, but Hope and I, the Narcissist Slayers, are writing a workbook so that you can do narcissistic abuse recovery on your own, and we include in there 10 green flags of a relationship. I think it's really important because people often talk about red flags, and yes, you need to be aware of the red flags, but you also need to be aware of what you want in a relationship, what you see as the optimum great relationship flags. Okay, so that's number one, and those should be non-negotiable. Those should be what you want in the relationship, and you should not be willing to accept anything less.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
And number two, we have talked a lot about this a long time ago. I don't think we've talked about it recently, but typically people who suffer from NPD like to begin a relationship quickly.
Yes.
And it's kind of a weird anomaly that they have, because I've talked to so many of my clients and they'll say, oh, we were engaged in the first month we were dating. Mm-hmm. We were this. So there's a whole concept of future faking, and that goes along with the love bombing. And P.S. This is all in cycle number one, or phase number one of the narcissistic abuse cycle. But slow it down.
Yes.
Do not go on their timetable. Like, if you are a person, you know, my mother used to kid me that, like, I was someone who needed a lot of time to make a decision. Then take that time. Don't be rushed. Don't go on their timetable. Stay on your own. And I think a lot of this has to do with being self-aware, which I know Hope referenced, and you need to do some work on yourself, because if you feel that you are in a pattern of picking the same types of people, this is a great time to spend on your own investigating the why. And we talked a lot about this when we were talking about someone who had been raised in addiction and then felt comfort in the chaos of that addiction. Well, this is the same thing. So we want you to be aware of what you're looking for and what you're putting out there.
Yes. Yeah. And I'd like to end like on a positive note there, because, you know, when you are more in alignment with all of those things, okay, when you're not living your life being directed by your childhood trauma,
In survivor mode.
You know, all of the things that you're doing when you're not healed from the trauma, when you're still actively codependent, you know, all those kinds of things. Once you heal from those things or are in recovery, and you start to see things through a different lens, and you're more in alignment now with your true self, not your trauma, but the person that you are, like the wonderful, lovable, worthy person who doesn't have to put up with this. This is not, nor has it ever been, love. No. Okay, this is, and what it's always been is abuse. And so you can become NARC proof. You can. It's work. And you know, that's what we want for you, is we want everyone to come into alignment with your true self.
Agreed.
And once you do, then you're going to attract other people who are in alignment with their true selves. Rather than these bottomless pits and these black holes. You're going to find people who are genuine, with authentic with integrity and all that.
And we want that for you.
We want that for you. Absolutely. So thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time on the Narcissist Slayers.